Found out wife cheated on me when she was visiting her hometown. This week I found out that my wife cheated on me when she went back to her hometown to visit her family and friends. We've been together for 9 years, married 5 years. We had some tension during that time, which made me realize she has a lot of issues about my behavior, which I feel like was an incentive for her to be with another man. Over the past year and a half we've both been in COVID lockdown. She lost her job and was at home while I continued to work from home. When vaccinations were open to the public, she went back to her hometown to get vaccinated, so she could start to socialize after not being able to see her family for so long. I stayed back because of some immigration issues since I couldn't cross the border with her. Canada to US. May 28th, everything was going along okay. We'd use FaceTime multiple times a day to chat. Then one day she says that she needs time alone to think about some stuff, so I say, "Sure, I won't bother you." A few days go by and not a word from her. And as her husband, I wanted to make sure she's okay, so I called her and all H broke loose. She was crying, tell me how frustrated she has been with me for years. All the pent-up issues she's had with me, big and small, during our entire relationship. Some of it was valid, some I didn't feel was totally true, but over the next few days the outcome of it was that I need to talk to a therapist to handle some issues I have. Which I accept. There are things I need to talk to a professional about. We don't have any financial, alcohol, gambling, or addiction issues. Mostly anger management, communication, and certain control issues that I have. It was a little rough that week, but we started talking again. Things were going back to normal. I booked a ticket for her to come back home. Meanwhile, I felt like something was weird about her. She wasn't acting the way I've known her to be. She would always say, "I love you so much," and start crying. First week of June, meanwhile, she mentions she's having vaginal burning, like a yeast infection with some discharge. She got tested in treatment for a yeast infection, and I joked with her to get an STD test too, just in case. She did get an STD test and it was negative, but the vaginal issue wasn't going away. June 23rd, so she comes back home and the following day books an online appointment with a doctor to get tested again, and when she talks to the doctor, she went onto our balcony and closed the door. That was a huge red flag for me because she never, ever goes onto the balcony to talk. She did it a second time to talk to her closest friend, and I thought that's really weird. I knew something was up. Later that night I checked her phone to see if anything odd showed up in her messages or browser history. She deleted her entire browser history while she was in Arizona, another red flag. Then I find a screenshot of text messages she deleted but were still in a deleted folder. And they between her and another guy at the time. She was changing flights in the Atlanta airport. She was upset with him because he didn't come to the dinner they had planned the night before she left for her hometown. I then went and checked her phone records, looking at the times she texted or called his number. And she had been in contact with him 5 days before she and I had our first serious conversation about marriage issues. I confronted her and learned that he was a long-time high school crush, and she saw him in the club one night when she went out with her friends. She kissed him in the club and went home with him that night. She saw him 3 more times after that in a public park and planned to see him for dinner a final time before she came back to me. He didn't show up the final night, and she realized he used her. She said she felt guilty the day after her first and realized she destroyed our marriage. She continued to see him because she felt like it was over between us, was lonely and need a male to give her attention and confidence. During that time she was seeing him, we were still talking, and often after we would talk she'd call him. There's just a lot of emotions right now for me to deal with. She said she went home with him because she had so many frustrations with me, and when she saw an old friend from her past, she fell into temptation. I was even more upset that her closest friends let her go home with another man, and over the entire time she was there they didn't tell her that what she was doing was wrong. 3 of her closest friends knew, and none of them told her to stop it. She should have known better. I'm just upset with it, all of them. I asked her, why did you come back to me, and not just stay there? She said she really wanted to come back and work on our marriage, that she wants to be with me, and she realized she wouldn't find another man who loves her as much as I do. I genuinely believe her. I feel like the experience she had with this man devastated her. I've been the only man she's ever been with, So I can understand a human desire to experience something else when you have the chance, but at the same time, a marriage vow has to mean something. Now, I feel betrayed and disgusted, but I don't know if it's worth it to go to counseling to work on this and forgive her, or if what she did is unforgivable and ending our marriage is the right option. It's hard to know what to do because there are so many things society, religion, and culture tells us about marriage, but at the same time, life is hard, and being an adult is really hard. Is it human to try and forgive what a loved one did? Or do we have strict rules we must adhere to no matter how much a person means to us? We don't have any children, which makes divorce a realistic option. At the same time, I've invested 9 years in a relationship with her, and I feel like I can forgive her for making a terrible decision, yet it's hard to come to terms with how she treated me and think that I deserve to keep her in my life. How am I supposed to know that's she being honest when she says she hates herself and wants to be with me? I've reached out to a therapist for myself and our marriage counselor for us. She'll need to book a therapist to deal with her own issues. Story 2. He male 21 texts me all day long but isn't progressing things. What should I female 22 do? We matched on Tinder 3 weeks ago. He messaged first and asked for my Snapchat a day or two later. We've spoken daily since. The reason I'm so confused is that he doesn't make any effort to progress things. Neither romantically nor sexually, though I appreciate the latter. I move slowly. He usually messages first, yay. But he is often boring and answers back without adding anything to further the conversation, e.g., OMG, no way / yeah, that's happened to me too, etc. So I stop responding. Then he'll message again hours later or the next morning. Of course, he could just be a boring texter. He never leaves me on open/read. He probably Snapchats me 20+ times a day. I feel like he can't just be after sex because he hasn't tried whatsoever and all he's done is kiss me a little at the end of each date. He never tries to bring me home, etc. Part of me thinks he just wants to be my friend. It was me who organized the first and third date. I told him to arrange the next one, but it's been 2 days. I would say he's probably speaking to other girls, but the guy Snapchats me all the time and is clearly either at his work placement or doing assignments. He isn't going on dates anyway. When he's with me, he literally never checks his phone. I'm interested, but I feel like it's moving too slowly and it's too much effort. Yet when we do meet up, he makes every effort to prolong the date. For example, kept asking if I wanted another drink, so we sat in the bar for 5 hours or driving me the long way home to show me different parts of the city. Worth noting, he only left his ex in August after 3 years. I left my own ex of 2.5 years back in March. I feel like I need to 100% back off and let him arrange the next date and assume if he hasn't within a week or so, he isn't interested at all. I really don't give a about texting around the clock. I want actual dates.